Hi, Michael. It's always good to see you, my friend. I was hoping you could introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your organization.
Sure. Thanks, David. It's always good to catch up with you too. And um, so yeah, we started PM Separations 23 years ago. The P stands for Patricia, so Dr. Patricia Vasquez, my partner in life and also in business, and the M is for Michael. And we started the business basically with the goal to offer an alternative to labs who were looking to deal with companies that were, I guess, more focused on clients rather than on transactions. And yeah, that's 23 years ago. But I also realized this morning it's 40 years since I started my career in sales. But I wake up every morning and I'm still really looking forward to what's happening. I guess I'm loving what I do each and every day. I'm loving all the new opportunities that we get and also embracing all the challenges. And I guess since 2020, there's been lots of challenges for all sorts of different reasons. Before starting PM Separations, I worked for two, I guess, boutique sales companies in the medical industry. Then I joined a company that was very well known, but also a very large company. And they really taught me how not to do things in industry. So I'd had the experience of the boutique smaller companies. So then at the age of 40, decided that it was time that we should do something on our own. So with the full support of Patricia, we started the company. And here we are 23 years on. And I often say to companies that, or customers that we've not dealt with before that we're probably one of the best kept secrets in analytical chemistry. But in other markets, they're like really like a piece of the furniture. And in fact, I mentioned that to one of my good customers the other day, and he said, "Yeah, that I look like a worn out, very comfortable but reliable sofa." So I guess that's something that I can be relatively proud of.
Well, you've been an amazing partner to Organomation and have really enjoyed working with you over the years. I hope you could talk about the ways in which Organomation evaporators have complemented your other chromatography
Yeah,
offerings.
sure. One thing I also like to say is that we really love working with you guys too. You've been a fantastic supply partner. I've always said that you judge a company on how good they are when there's a problem. And in all the years we've been working with animation, we've actually not had any problems. The products are sensational, but your customer service, your feedback, your response to our requirements is just world class. We do have within the office a thing called the good, the bad, and the ugly when we're talking about suppliers, and Organomation always in the good. If I think about how Organomation fits into the workflow with our laboratory, so maybe if I just take a step back and talk about where we as a company fit in. We're probably one of the only companies, and I'm now referring to, say, drug testing labs or urine drug testing for workplace drug testing. We tend to be pretty sure one of the only companies that's involved in so many of the steps along the process. Imagine the sample comes in and it needs to be confirmed. We supply blank matrices through companies like Axiom and Golden West. We supply the drug standards so that the labs can make up the calibration. So we work with Lipomed, Chiron, LGC. Then a lot of labs will do sample prep, which is what we actually built our business on. And so UCT, Affinicep are big partners for us in that. Then the sample goes through an analytical column, again, UCT or a Japanese manufacturer called Intact who has some really amazing phrases. And then we make up control materials for laboratories. They all go, the sampling goes into an evaporator, and that's where you guys come in and they're evaporated down, reconstituted, put on the instrument, and away you go. We're touching in that industry, we're touching just about every process. Then we've got the environmental labs who are a key focus of ours now. And again, a similar thing.
Very good. Is there any success story that particularly sticks out for Organomation products helping one of your customers improve their workflow?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question. And I'm very fortunate to get up this morning, go for a really nice walk around the lake close to our place. And thinking about probably the number of laboratories that we've supplied organomation products to over the years. But one lab in Australia, we have a very large roadside drug testing program, and they use oral fluid as the matrix. And one of our labs, they were quite successful in terms of preventing or I guess monitoring the number of people who were drug driving. They decided that the government decided they needed to increase the number of samples. And that really then became a backlog for them or a real bottleneck, because they had one sample, they were doing it by SPEs. The discussion then was around maybe putting them into 96 well plates, 96 well extraction plate, collection plate. And, the Organomation microvap, the 96 well plate capacity, that just changed everything for them. Their turnaround times just dropped. So their clients were really happy. And I felt really proud of being able to, help them improve that process.
I was hoping we could spend some time because you're certainly spending a lot of time visiting labs out in the field. Are there any current trends you're seeing in terms of whether it's HPLC, chromatography, sample preparation you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I guess what I mean, obviously being around for as long as I have, I've seen some really big changes. Things like the seismic shift away from GCMS in many of the clients that we work with to LCMS. And what I've seen probably over the past 5, 6 years is a real trend towards labs looking to analyze much larger panels of analytes. Previously a forensic lab might do an opiate panel and benzo panel, but now it's going to do 350 plus drugs in a single run. And of course, that means that the companies like UCT who manufacture HPLC columns, they've got to be able to produce products that enable the labs to analyze drugs that are extremely polar to extremely non-polar, everything in between. I guess things like the PFPP phase, which is when we were at TAFT in Switzerland last year, I noticed a lot more oral and poster presentations referring to the use of the PFPP column for these really large panels. The other thing that I have seen is that over the years there's been a shift away from traditional SPE, which, when you're doing GCMS, you had to have this unbelievably pristine sample to present to the instrument. LCMS changed that. It's more robust, it's more rugged, so therefore less sample prep. And that forced companies like UCT, who are real innovators in that space, to look at still being able to coming up with a product that would provide the cleanliness and reduce matrix effects, which obviously is a real problem for LCMS. And so that's something that I've seen. So, a quicker, easier sample prep. The good thing for Organomation for us is that means the sample volume is smaller. Therefore, the blow down time is quicker. So therefore, that has an impact also on workflow. And probably one of the most recent innovations that I've seen was when Cura released their B1 enzyme, which has been a real game changer. It's allowed for much faster hydrolysis time, which improves turnaround time. And these days, it's all about how quickly you can get your samples in, how quickly you can get your samples out.
In terms of the proliferation of compounds, that's something we've seen a lot with PFAS because we're cited in those drinking water methods as the regulations change. And I suppose at some level, more and more PFAS compounds are being discovered. So there's more to look
Oh,
for.
absolutely.
So
And I do think that, certainly with the legislation here in Australia and also in New Zealand, the Organomation, units, I mean, everyone's wanting PFAS-free products now, and I've seen quite a number of your interviews with labs that are doing PFAS and can really understand why the Organomation product has become so popular.
yeah, speaking of Australia and New Zealand, what growth are you seeing in terms of how HPLC is used? Are there certain types of analysis? To give an example that I'm seeing more and more, certainly there's this PFAS wave that I feel like we're still riding as an organization, whether it's commercial labs or research labs at universities. But 6-PPD is
Yep,
another. That's the compound that's used to treat rubber for
yep.
tires. Spoke with a researcher from University at Buffalo to kick off the concentrating on chromatography interview series. I was just curious what you're seeing in terms of growth areas.
Yeah, 6-PPD probably hasn't had the same impact as what PFAS has had. I spent summer vacation reading a book called Our Stolen Future, which is about the rise of the endocrine disruptors. Unfortunately, that book was published in 1997, and there's been a lot of things happened since then. I guess for us, as with regards to trends that we're seeing, definitely the environmental market is one that we're developing. So, well, things like PFAS, microplastics is another one, and also food safety. Food safety is becoming a significant issue around the world, not just being able to feed all of us, but also to be able to make sure that the food that we're eating is suitable. So we're seeing that. I've also seen a real increase in the use of HPLC, LCMS in pathology laboratories. So I'm looking at some of the, I guess, the more esoteric type of conditions, plasma metapnephrine's, steroids, those things really come to mind. And I think that's going to continue. And in terms of what else we're seeing is that real increase in the number of analytes that people are testing for.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What else about PM separations would you like people to know in terms of your capabilities or anything else that we should make the Organomation customer base aware of?
um, I don't know. I guess we're as a company, we're really just focused on providing really good products with competitive pricing, with good backup, good technical support. You know, it's been interesting. So a number of my colleagues that I've known for many years, we talk about how certain companies, it's all transactionally based. So it's, you buy this from me, I supply that to you. We're more about looking at developing relationships. And, I mean, as I say, we've been going for 23 years. I have no intentions of retiring, despite the other day going to the gym and being asked if I had a concession card. So I suppose it's the grey in the beard or the lack of hair. But yeah, so I've got no intention of retiring. Yeah, we just keep doing what we've been doing for the past 3 years, look to improve upon that, get better at what we do. And I suppose the one thing that particularly when we're meeting with new clients, is just to give us some thought, when you're looking to develop a method, or you're looking to challenge a method and you're looking for an alternative, then just think that there are boutique companies like PM Separations that, and if you look at our portfolio, I mean, we work with world-class companies. I mean, Organomation is the world leader in evaporation. And we're really proud of that. Yeah.
There's no partner we would rather have in Australia and New Zealand than you. So I appreciate you speaking with me today, and we'll talk
Yeah, look
soon.
forward to it, David. Thank you for that.